Welcome back. Episode 2 of In the Zone podcast. I'm Brandon Davis.
I'm Elijah Johnson, and today our special guest is Tyler Booker.
Very special guest.
Thank y'all for having me.
Of course, we're glad to have you here. So let's just get right into it. We'll talk about your hometown. We know you're not from around this area. So
had to make that clear on Twitter a few times. Yeah, I'm from New Haven, Connecticut, born and raised. Reason why people think I'm from New Jersey, I came here to play football my freshman year at Bergen Catholic. So
you just came up here to ball?
Yes,
that was your main reason?
Yeah.
And that's when you went to Bergen, right? Start?
Yep.
Okay. Wait, before you, it's a dance in Connecticut. What's the dance called? Like I seen somebody doing it on the
bop. It's like the
okay. He really from there. He really from there.
I went to school out in Springfield, Massachusetts, AIC. So we got mad CT kids that came up there and whatever they was teaching us.
Doing that all the time.
Word. He loved it.
It looked cool. I don't know how to do it. I need to learn. You gotta teach me after this. But so Bergen Catholic, they're really good this year. As you can see.
Yeah.
You went there your freshman year. How was it there?
It was a great experience, you know. It was everything that I wanted out of high school football, as far as just being in a town where football is taken seriously. Because in Connecticut, it's more of a basketball state. That's what people see a lot more. And I wanted to be somewhere where football was a priority in the community, and that's exactly what I got from Bergen. So I got support. Whenever I was walking around in the Bergen shirt, be like, hey, you go to Bergen. I went there in 92. I graduated in 87, stuff like that. So just having that.
Alumni is crazy at
having
Bergen.
that brotherhood and just being around that type of atmosphere, that's what I really wanted.
Okay. How did you even hear about Bergen, being from CT?
Well, one of my friends, he ended up transferring out too. JJ Fuqua, he was there, and he told me to come up for a camp when I was still going through the high school search.
Okay.
And it was their youth camp, so I went there for a week, and that was the same week of their freshman training camp. So I went there, and then I was in the 8th grade, so I did all the stuff with the freshmen. Then we ended up doing one-on-ones, dominated all of them, and I just worked really hard, and all the coaches took notice, and we kept building the relationship. And I feel the Bergen Bosco game, my 8th grade year, it was 2017 when Diodetta. Anthony Diodetta caught that ball over the middle. My dad got back in the car. I was like, I got to go to school. I was like, I got to go to school here.
Man, that Bosco-Bergen rivalry is something serious, man. It's very special. How did it feel playing? Another special thing about Bergen Catholic is their student section, the crazies. How did it feel playing in front of the crazies? That's it's like a college field.
Yeah,
almost. It was amazing because you're not only playing for your teammates, you're playing for the crazies too. You know. So it's just I never had anything like that before. Of course, I had my dad and my mom screaming in the stands, but to have a whole student section of my brothers that I go to school with every day, have them cheering me on and getting loud, and they had a big effect on those games too. On third downs, it's hard to hear. You
ever been to a Bergen basketball game?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, those are. Yeah.
Good luck trying to make a free throw in there, bro. Yeah. So after your freshman year, you made a big jump.
Yes, I did.
Big jump. As you can see from your shirt, IMG Academy, not one of the top high school program around. Man, that's a factory. We were just talking about that. How does it feel going to school down in Florida? How was that jumping from Connecticut to New Jersey to Florida? How was that? How that was a big jump. How was that?
So I feel like the jump from Jersey to Florida wasn't as bad. It wasn't a bad jump from Connecticut to Jersey, but I just had to get used to being on my own. I got real homesick the summer of my freshman year, but I didn't really have time to be homesick because I was trying to get playing time as a freshman at Bergen. That doesn't really happen. So I feel like that's when I really matured and that's when I learned how to be independent. So when that opportunity came to go to IMG in Florida, I was like, all right, let's do it, because I was already used to being independent, being away from home, having to make smart decisions, having to be smart because I'm on my own and my parents just can't come right around the corner and pick me up, you know. So I feel like my freshman year at Bergen Catholic really set me up, put me in a great position to be where I was when I got to IMG Academy.
So awesome. When you got down there, how was it? Like, well, of course it was an easy transition like you just said, but was it a change? Like, was it much different from Jersey? Of course, the weather's different. Yeah. Was it like the people treating you different? Anything like that?
People, well, when I came in, a bunch of other kids came in, so they were just trying to figure out who was like that and who wasn't. So I wanted to stand out by just being about my business, being early for everything, always working harder than everybody else. And I feel like that's when I started to began to get noticed by all the other coaches, all the coaches on the team. Because when I came in, there were a bunch of juniors and seniors that were ready to start on defensive line. And I was like, look, I see that y'all here, but I'm trying to come get mine.
Yeah. I ain't come down here to see Mickey Mouse.
So when you first got down there, you started starting off rip?
I didn't start off rip. It took me a few weeks. So when I got down there, we were lifting weights and we did skills and drills. So that's just getting used to technique, learning technique. So it took me a few weeks before I won my first one-on-one rep. But once I started to finally process what Coach Logan was teaching me, that's our defensive line coach, as far as flipping my hips, using my hands, and I put all that together. As soon as I started winning, that's when it really started to begin rolling for me. And then a few weeks after that, when the college coaches started to come, we put the pads on. That's when I started flourishing.
That's just That's cool. So you played for IMG. How many years now? How many years have you been down there?
I have played 2 seasons.
Played 2 seasons down there. It's a lot of great competition within practice. Like you're gonna play the best players that you're gonna play in practice.
It's the best of the best coming through.
It is.
Talk to us about playing against those D linemen. You named a few of them before and what schools they went to. Reiterate where they went to school and like how it was playing against those defensive linemen.
So I was that season I was slated to play defensive line, but due to some injuries on the offensive line, I had to play offensive line my sophomore year, and then I just saw that's where I had a higher ceiling, so that's why I'm on offensive line. But that defensive line, my sophomore year, it went Florida State, Georgia, Northwestern, Clemson, and UConn, and then Georgia State right behind them. So just going against those guys every day in practice was a blessing, and I feel like the person that really made me much better is Josh Griffiths. Big Country was talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Like Josh really used to abuse me during practice, and I'm grateful for it because what Josh did to me, I knew the dude on Friday who wasn't gonna do to me. He's not coming with that same
intensity.
Yeah, he's not coming the same way. So and then when I did catch Josh, that's when I was like, all right, this is what I gotta do. Just stay on my toes. I gotta play at the top of the top. But yeah, just going against that competition day in and day out, really. Sometimes there's only a handful of times where the competition in game was better than the competition in practice. And I wouldn't even say the competition in game was certain plays, but the competition in practice was all practice long. So I was just used to competing at such a high level.
So just like you were saying before, it's crazy how you guys are so in depth of like having even your second string was getting offers, right?
Yeah.
And being committed to schools. That's crazy how deep IMG is and how great of prospects they got coming out of there. That's so.
The running backs were pretty good too. How is it blocking for great running backs?
Oh my God!
I know that's fun. Like
it's
you
amazing.
Do your job and then they're taking off 80 yards down the field.
Yeah. So last year our offense was a lot more minimized because of personnel. We didn't have the right pieces to do what our offense coordinator would have liked to run. So last year it was just a bunch of inside zone power. And that year was a good year for me, JC, and Greg to really get a chemistry. JC and Greg are seniors. Greg is going to Michigan. JC's going to Alabama. That's when we built our chemistry. So this year we were a whole different monster. And we had the same running backs before. So the inside zone stuff came easy. But once we added,
feeding off of you and you feeding off of them.
Exactly. And there would be times during practice, and when I would end up pulling, or I'd have a certain block, so I'd be like, "Hey, K-Tron, just press this a little bit more, and then you're gonna be gone." Or I'd be like, "All right, look, LC, I'm gonna take this step, and I'm gonna come back here, so you have this hole wide open." So
communication,
having that chemistry and that communication, it was special. It was real special.
How is it going to war every down though in the trenches basically? Because skill players they get plays off. Like you know what I'm saying, in the trenches down there, that line it get different down there. So how is it like talk to the people how hard
people
it is,
that
honestly.
might not know,
like because it's tough down there honestly.
Every play.
So for me it's all about getting that first hit and getting that first tap. I mean, like, all right, let's go. Here it is. I'm in the game now. And then after that is just dominating your man, wanting to take his heart away, play after play. I remember the last game of the year, we played true prep, and then the dude, I knew I was in his head. And I was pushing him after the play a little stuff like that. You get him off.
Take people off.
You saw that? I was doing little stuff like that. My coach was like, "But calm down, you're gonna get." I was like, "Hey, look, I got this." So it's It's just obviously the physical game. But obviously, you just gotta take the right steps, have the correct hand placement. But once you're in somebody's head, you can take their heart. That's the best feeling in the world. And obviously putting somebody in their back, on their back gets their will.
Yeah, that brings up a point.
We was watching before.
We were watching his highlight tape, and I will say probably for 4 or 5 minutes, every single play, somebody was on the ground and he was on top of them. Like, it wasn't like they tripped or, he literally was pancaking every single player that was coming against him. And that's how much do you weigh?
I weigh 315.
That is, you cannot move. Like, once he grabs you, it's over. His hand, look at his hands. It's over. How do you, you play with the tenacity that an O-lineman is supposed to play with. Where did you find, because a lot of O-linemen, some of them are timid. Some of them,
some be soft.
Some of them
don't.
They're
really big babies.
Of course.
Really, how it is.
They're just big, So how is it like being a bully? How does it feel like being a bully in a good way?
Yeah. So like I said before, I played D-line my whole life up until my sophomore year. So I had that defensive mindset. I have that attack mindset. And what I did, so I switched over to offensive line 3 weeks before the season started. So I was still in that defensive mindset. I just had to learn the plays, go out there and play offense.
That shows how good you are, though.
Yeah, and so that defensive mindset just never met my body. Offensive linemen, they obviously look to protect. I'm looking to attack. Everybody's don't. All right, I'm trying to open up this hole for my running back to get through. Let me do this. Let me just get in his way so he don't say at the quarterback. No, I'm trying to put him on his back so K-Tron could just run behind me. So K-Tron has a bunch of holes. I'm trying to go outside, reach him, and then put him on his back so LC could just hit the edge and score. So I'm just looking to attack rather than to protect.
Bro, like literally, the play would be all the way over there. It's like 5 yards down the field. He's laying on somebody and his hands are swirling in the air trying to get up. Like, it's crazy to watch and it's legal, He's doing what he's supposed to do, and it's that alone could take somebody's heart. Like even just the whole defense seeing that is just like, okay, we have
your ass cooked. We have every down.
We have a problem here. And man, that's a good problem to have. As far as your talent, man, your talent is unheard of. I mean, how tall are you? You're
6'5".
6'5", 315 pounds.
Yes, sir.
And you can move.
Yes, sir.
You can move. Did you play any other sports?
I grew up. I did a little bit of track and field when I was younger. I ran the 100 during the indoor, did that, but I really gravitated towards throwing because my sister didn't. I was like, oh, that's cool, so I threw a little bit. Once I got into high school, that's when I really started to buckle down on football.
Okay, you said your sister threw?
Yeah.
So who was better? You or
me.
You think so?
100%.
Would she say you were better thrower than?
She should say I was better. She should.
Another thing that we need to touch on, it's an important topic to me. I know to everyone here as well. The Black Lives Matters movement, police brutality. It was a big thing. Some people stand out when it's time to stand out. And how did it feel taking on like a leadership role down there in Florida of all places? To explain to your teammates that weren't all the same color as you and didn't think the same as you. How was it to try to get them to be on the same page that this is what's going on right now is wrong and what's going on needs to change?
It felt really good, honestly, because we like I said before, we would end up talking about something during practice. Well, in the locker room, like something will happen, and we'll like, all right, let's talk about it. And then some of my white teammates were like, nah, he shouldn't have been in this position. He shouldn't have had the knife. But it was like, okay, would he have to have done this, right, if the police officer didn't do this? So we'd have those conversations. And then a lot of my what I realized, a lot of my teammates, they lived in a bubble. They didn't understand that the social construct against African American people. They didn't understand that.
What we go through every day.
What we go through every day, and it's just crazy. So they didn't understand that. So once me and my teammates began to explain that to them in the locker room, that's when they started to understand. It was like that's when they started to take a step back and was like, oh shoot, like I never really realized that. Does that really happen? When we showed them the facts
exactly
of the what we go through on a day-to-day basis in the workforce and life against police and just trying to find a job is just crazy. So once we explained that to them, they took a step back. And it was me and my roommate. He had my roommate Greg Kripp, and his dad's a police officer. So I got to get a lot of good insight from him. So he really helped me understand from their point of view too, because what I feel like I need to do in order for me to be a leader, I have to be able to put myself in their shoes and to see where they're coming from.
Just like we want them to put themselves in ours.
Exactly. So I feel like that's only right. So Greg explained to me, he was like, all right, as my dad's a police officer, do you expect him, if somebody's running at him with a knife, do you expect him to just run away? Or he has a gun, he should protect himself, right? I was like, you're right. So just conversations like that with my roommate really helped me understand where they're coming from. And then he also did a really great job of just trying to understand where we're coming from. So I feel like that's why we grew so much closer as a team. Just having those tough conversations, having conversations that some adults avoid.
Can't even have. Yeah,
and we in there 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds having these conversations.
That takes a lot of intelligence to talk and to not to be heard, but to get an understanding. You know, like you listen to what somebody else had to say, even though you know that what they might be thinking, you know, might not be the same way that you're thinking, but you can get something out of what they're saying and you know, help it in your everyday life to get a better understanding on why people act the way they do.
Exactly.
And that takes a lot of intelligence, and it takes a lot of patience because I know it could be stressful.
Yeah, it is.
Just hearing people talk on and on and on about a topic that's like so blatant, like you can say, oh, why did he do this? Why did he do that? He didn't deserve to get shot 8 times.
I remember one time we talking about George Floyd. We kept going in a circle. I was like, look, like me, all the black teammates, some of my white teammates, we were going back and forth, and we kept saying, I was like, look, y'all gonna hear it eventually, and we just kept saying it. And then one of them was like, wait a minute, what? Because they were just being so defensive and being so, nah, he shouldn't have been doing this. That he was like, when he finally listened and finally heard what we were saying, like, yeah, that is kind of wrong. And that's when everybody else started to realize. So it's just, I feel like in order for us to create change, we need to educate the people who don't go through our struggle on what we go through on a day-to-day basis, because some people really just don't know. Yeah. Like the special thing about IMG, you'll have kids like me coming from Connecticut. One of my teammates, he's from Serbia. Another one of my teammates, he's from Nigeria. So we all come from different aspects of life, different walks of life. So when we all come together and we show, and everybody thinks a certain way for a reason. Everybody goes through things in life for them to act a certain way. Yeah. And so once I understand those things, like Greg, when he felt a certain way, when we said Black Lives Matter, and he said something about Blue Lives Matter, and I was that like, there's a reason why we have to say Black Lives Matter, because our Black lives aren't being respected as much as these other lives are.
Yeah, exactly. That's the truth. That's deep.
That's very deep, man.
And then just I mean, cut y'all off, but just having him as my roommate, like we had like I said, different walks of life. But me and Greg, like I call Greg is my brother. I call him up, tell him I love him, even though we have different points of view, we have different political views, but just being able to be in that same room and have those conversations, I feel like I'm a better man for it, and I feel like he is too, because we both learn stuff about each other and what we go through on a daily basis.
I see that you have like a lot of leadership qualities. Like, do you enjoy being like, you know, the leader of your team and the leader in general?
I do, because I feel like God made me this way for a reason. Like he gave me all this. Yeah, so I just can't waste this talent, this ability, because some people are terrified of being able to speak in public. And I feel like that's one of my strong suits. I feel like I was blessed with that gift. So I have to take advantage of that gift and make my voice heard and speak for those who aren't heard on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. And I think one of my most important questions, not saying that what we've been talking about isn't important, but a lot of people don't know what's your why. You know, why do you play the game of football? Why do you go as hard as you do? You know, what keeps you going? You know, what's that battery in your back to continue to play as hard as you do?
We had a conversation about this with my offensive line coach one day as the season started to wind down. And then at first, off rip, I said, my family, I want to provide for my family. I want to give my mom, my dad a better life. He was like, look, by you just being you and you doing he said, you're doing that already. That's not your why. So I looked into myself, and I looked at myself, and I looked what I've been blessed with. I'm 6'5", 320, and I can run a 40 in like 4.9 seconds, 4.8 seconds. That's unheard of. So my why is just being able to be the best I can be. Like I feel like I could be an NFL Hall of Famer. So just living up to my own standards of being great, because they're gonna be straight with whether I play football or not. Yeah, because I feel like I'm well-rounded enough to be able to take care of them off the field. But I've just been blessed with this ability and this leadership that I could go so far with this game. So I just want to take it as far as I can and just live up to my standards of being the best football player from my area, and just being the best football player and person I could be.
That's what's up.
That's my why.
I never seen it from that perspective, because honestly, I always think my why would be to take care of my family and want to provide for my family. That's dope.
And for you to sit there and say that one day I could be a NFL. A lot of people don't say that.
Your
at this
why
young
is
age,
basically just you.
Like just me living up to my own standards.
Like you have a goal. Like you like manifesting it. Like NFL Hall of Famer. Like no like. A lot, kids that your age don't think of that. You know, think, I want to be in the NFL. It's like no, you want to go past that, and that's tough, man. That's really good.
And also just winning the battle against myself, because sometimes I get tired. Sometimes everybody gets tired. Sometimes, so just fighting that battle would be like, how great do you want to be? Just winning, because I feel like I'm my greatest competitor. Nobody knows me more than I know me. Nobody knows my strengths or weaknesses more than I know myself. So I just having that constant battle with myself and wanting to be great. That's also one of my reasons why. Just
you're gonna be great.
I'm trying to tell you.
Your attitude, your mindset.
You have one more step to get to where you want to get to. You know, it's high school, college, and then it's the pros. Yep. So right now you're in high school,
correct?
And we want to know like what's your recruiting looking like. You know, you have some breaking news for the people on New Year's. So just tell us a little bit about your recruiting and how is that going, and what big plans you have for us on New Year's.
So recruiting has been going great ever since September 1st hit. That's when coaches are allowed to contact juniors. I've built a lot of great relationships and learned a lot about schools that I really like, and then learned some things about some schools that won't be the best for me. So with a lot of prayer and talking to my family, I'm going to be releasing my top 10 schools on New Year's Eve. So I'm looking forward to that.
You heard it here first on In The Zone podcast.
Yes, sir.
New Year's top 10?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. Are they recruiting you for running back? Because I heard you had a couple
a few schools.
Yeah, really? Yeah. How was it running the ball? How did you feel? Like, it's not every day. It's 6'5", 315 pounds. I'll tell you one thing. I wasn't tackling you. If I was playing, you was scoring on me. But how was it running the ball, getting the balls some plays, you know?
So it really had, like, this just attest to Coach Acosta what kind of coach he is. He's a player's coach. So JC, the tackle opposite of me, he was like, look, he said, I got to score. It's my senior year. So JT had a backside tackle pass. We never ran that. I don't know why. But then he was like, all right, look, I need you to put it in the play for Book. So JC really got me to play. And he was my lead blocker. So we ran it during practice one day. I was like, yeah, we never going to run this. So it's Venice. I think it's fourth and goal. And we were real close. It was like 5 yards. And they said Hageman, because that was the play called Hageman. Right. It was a hammer. I was like, y'all joking. So I got back there and I ran it. And then we ran it during practice a lot too. I remember one time we were running backed up stuff, and so we would have run that play if we were real backed up, like we were on the 1 yard line. We need to get a little bit of comfort room. So I remember we were running against a scout team. It was the offense, so it was all the quarterbacks and wide receivers. I was like, yeah, let's get our practice early. So I got the ball and I scored. I went 99 yards. I went through the defense practice and everything. I went through the practice and everything. I was like, practice over, let's go, because I was tired. I was burnt. Took that thing 99 yards.
That's hilarious. So as far as also with recruitment, what visits are you looking to take when everything opens back up and you're able to go on your visits? I've been
looking forward to visiting Penn State. That was going to be the first school I was going to visit before everything got shut down. Definitely got to make it to Ohio State. Definitely got to get back to Gainesville. Definitely got to get back to Athens. Definitely got to get to go visit Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
So you got a busy schedule ahead of you.
I do.
Man. Yeah. This is a fun time for you.
It's real fun.
It must feel good being wanted.
It's
like everybody wants a piece of you. And it's a great feeling. The last question for the day. You're coming up on your senior year. We already talked about you being a leader. This is going to be your team.
Yeah.
So how does it feel going into your senior year with a big role, like a leadership role? You have to carry, like, you're not playing with just a few like good players. Like your team is stacked. It's a great team. Is. So for you being a leader on that team, how does that feel, and how do you feel you will carry that?
Well, I felt like I had a big leadership role this past year, but the thing is, I had guys like Greg, JJ McCarthy, probably the greatest quarterback I've ever played with. I got guys like Ari Allen, Ja'Cory Brooks. I had guys like that to help me lead. J.C. Latham. I had guys like that to help me lead. So now the whole weight of the team is on my shoulders. And if one of the players do something wrong, they're gonna look to me. If something needs to go down, like with Coach Acosta, if we need to talk to Coach Acosta, something needs to be changed, people are gonna come to look to me. And I feel like I have great relationships with not just the football staff, not just the coaching staff, but the directors of football as well. Okay. So I feel like I'll be able to be a great advocate for my teammates. And then also, I just want to teach the younger dudes how to lead as well, because what we talk about a lot in leadership class, leave things better than you found it. So I'm just trying to make sure that the IMG brotherhood doesn't take a dip after me, K-Tron, and all of us lead. I'm trying to make sure it continues to rise. So I'm going to teach guys like Malik Bryant, Jordan Hall. I'm going to show those guys how to lead so they could just take over.
Next level, man. I'm looking forward to next year.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
We definitely going to be tuned in. You know we're going to be tuned in. I can't wait to see. I don't know if you got anything else to say.
Yeah, we have one more question. National championship.
Yes, sir.
You need it.
I got it.
He did it.
We are.
Are you guys getting it? Your senior year, you got to finish it off.
Of course, we going back to back. I've been said it. Like Drake said, we going back to back.
We don't have to say anything else.
I've been said it.
We appreciate you being on the Zone podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, Tyler Booker, fam.
Thank you.